working. Okay, so today we'll be working with Spring5. So any questions from yesterday's Spring MVC basic stuff? Because it is the continuation for that, so we'll be creating a new dynamic web project, and also we'll be trying to copy the same set of jar files, all that into this new application as well, right? And being a web application where there will be multiple forms will come on our way, so we need to understand how to work with the forms and all. So like the way we work with the JSTL tag libraries, all that, we need to explore something with respect to the Spring form library, all that, right? So we'll try to create one simple example which is helpful for us to have one simple form wherein we'll be trying to enter some data in that form, and then as soon as we will be submitting the data, we wanted to read that data back on another JSP page and then print the data on the web page. So that's what we'll be trying to work with, right? So who would like to share the screen today to do the creation of this new dynamic web project? Shikana, shall I make you the presenter? Yes, you are the presenter. Okay, let's create a new dynamic web project. File, new, create a new dynamic web project, name it as Spring MVC Farm APP. Okay, click finish. Oh, no, click next. Next button. You can click next button. Again next button, and choose the generate web.xml deployment descriptor option, and then you can click the finish button. Then go to that webinf folder, go web content, webinf, lib folder. So we need to bring all the jar files into this lib folder. So go to your Spring extracted library, wherever you have. No. Build path, no. For web applications, no build path concept. So directly the library jar files need to be there in the lib folder. Go to the folder wherever you have extracted it. I think it is there in your downloads. You have extracted them, right? So go there to the extracted folders, not the zip files. Copy that commons logging 1.2 and paste it in your lib folder. Right click on lib folder and then paste it. Then get the remaining files. Go back, click the downloads folder, and in the downloads folder you will be seeing that Spring Framework. Press enter. Go inside that. Yeah. Select Spring AOP, first one. Then select Spring Beans. Click that checkbox. No need to hold the control key. Click the checkbox. Right. Then Spring Context, Spring Core, Spring Expression, then Spring Web, Spring Expression, then Spring Web, Spring Web MVC. Select these 7 files, copy them, Ctrl C, then go back to the lib folder and paste them there in that lib folder. Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Right. Now let's create a new package. Name it as com.spring.practice in Java resources. Go to Java resources, select src, create a new package there. com.spring.practice. And create a new class, name it as student. Create a student class, finish that, and then inside the class you can copy the 3 private properties. Generate the getters and setters for all these three properties. Okay, let's create a new class, name it as student controller. Student controller. And let us mark that controller class with this @controller annotation on top of it. Then copy this method public model and view student form method inside the class. Control Shift F. Right. So here if you observe, the student controller method is defined with one simple method there, and this method is mapped with a mapping value called slash student form, and here it is trying to create a new model and view object and is returning that one. So we know that the first parameter of this model and view object is student form, which is the name of the view, and then command is the model object name, and then that model object is going to carry the instance of your student object. Right? Save this. So we have a Pojo class and we got one simple method defined inside our controller called as student form, which is going to written as a JSP page called studentform.jsp as a view page. So first of all, let us configure the web.xml, all that. Then we will be going to the JSP pages. So go to webinf, save your student.java also. It is not saved, it shows star mark. You can click the save all button. Go to web.xml and that web.xml need to be configured to load the dispatcher servlet.xml and also the welcome file. Keep only index.jsp and remaining things you can remove them. Keep the cursor at line 5, Control D twice. Then keep the cursor at line 6, Control D thrice. Right. And copy this servlet declaration after line 3. Right. So you got to declare the dispatcher as the servlet name, and that is mapped to slash, means after slash on your application context path, whatever will be there, so everything will be submitted. I mean every request will be handed over to your dispatcher servlet. So copy the dispatcher name, I mean the servlet name, and with that name there should be one more XML to be created in the same location. So right click on your webinf, create a new XML file, name it as new other XML file. Name of the file should be dispatcher hyphen servlet, paste it, hyphen servlet dot xml, dispatcher hyphen servlet dot xml. Copy all these lines of code, same as whatever we did in our yesterday's session. Copy all those beans definitions inside your dispatcher hyphen servlet xml. Delete that line, one existing line of code. Okay, fine. Select that ampersand LT semicolon. Press Ctrl F, replace with less than symbol, and then close that. Find replace. Ctrl Shift F. Save all the files, web.xml, dispatcher server.xml, everything. Okay, so context colon component scan is defined to look into the base package and then identify the respective components like your controller, all that. Now the JSPs. So the very first thing is index.jsp, as you marked it as a welcome file in your web.xml. So create that JSP page. You can go to your web.xml, you can copy that name. New JSP file. Finish. Okay. Then copy these lines inside the body portion. Okay, so one hyperlink is kept here. So clicking on this hyperlink will take me to that student form. So where is that student form request mapping is configured? It is configured in my student controller for the method student form, right? And it is going to execute that student form method in student controller.java and is returning the model and view object from there. Can you please go there to the student controller.java? So that by clicking this hyperlink from your index.jsp, it is going to execute that method and that method is returning you that model and view object. So what is the view name? So with that view name there must be a JSP page. So copy that view name and create the JSP with that name. Which one is the view name? Keep the cursor and model and view constructor. Create a new JSP with that name. So we created a student form. So in this student form we wanted to work with the form tag library. So copy this form tag library by using @taglib directive after line 2. After line 2 you can paste that. Control Shift F, save that. Always save the files. Index.jsp is not saved. Student form JSP is not saved. So save the file need not be telling, right? So as soon as you are making some changes, always align it and then save it. Now this form tag library is providing me the tag which is prefixed with form. So let us use that form tag. So copy all this code inside the body tag. So we would like to display the tabular information as a form object. So inside which we would like to keep some labels and the text boxes, all that, wherein each label is going to show you the respective private properties, whatever you have declared. Select those ampersand LT semicolon things and replace them with less than symbol so that all errors will go away. Ampersand LT semicolon is there at line number 26. Yeah, replace all. close, Control Shift F. So now we can understand where the form tag is beginning and where the form tag is ending. So form tag begins at line 12, wherein method is defined as post method, action is defined as add student, and then the table is declared inside that, and every form label, form colon input, all these things are defined with one path attribute. This path attribute of these form elements is directly able to access the private properties of my student Pojo by invoking the respective getters and setters, right? So it will be invoking the get id method, get name method, get age method, all that. As soon as you are trying to enter some value in those text boxes, that data will be binding to those properties by invoking the appropriate setter methods. So this is what your form tag library of the Spring framework is doing. And your form tag library is able to access the model object whose name is given as command. Directly command is given. If you go to your student controller, the model name is given as command. So since the command is to be considered as the default name of the model object, so that's why my JSP is able to access the command object whatever is carrying. What it is carrying? It is carrying an empty student object. Can you please go to student controller? I am talking about that model and view wherein view name is student form. The name of the model object is command, which is carrying new student, means empty student. So empty student is carried through that command object and is accessible by using your path attribute of the form tag library in your student form. Okay, so let us run this. Run the project. Who is the project? No. Select the project and right click and then run. So if you are saying run on server, so which one is running on server? Right. Select the project and then say run on server. That makes more sense. Run as run on server. Let your server is up and running and then it will be launching you the page. So which page is launched for you? Index page is launched. Right, so on that index page you kept a hyperlink. So clicking on that hyperlink is invoking the handler mapping. Handler mapping is passed with your incoming request by your dispatcher servlet, and that handler mapping identified the controller, and controller is returning the model and view object with a given view name. View resolver is resolving it the appropriate view object, and your view object is carrying the empty model object as command, and it is presenting you the tabular format of the form which is mapped with that empty student object. So that is how you are able to get those labels and text boxes and then the submit button, all that. So enter some data in this and then click the submit button. Let's see what will happen. So this is how we'll be able to create the forms. Submit. So this will be showing you add student as your URL. Since there is no such add student mapping defined yet, it is giving you HTTP status 404. So we will define that add student thing. So there must be request mapping available in our controller. So go to the controller and bring one more method called add student method, which is mapped with this value called slash add student. Copy this method and paste it after line 14. So this add student method is carrying Spring Web component as an attribute. Means your Spring web page is submitting that student object, right? And that student object is invoking all its getter methods, so that by invoking those getter methods, the values are added to your model map in the form of attributes. So three attributes are added to your model map by saying model.add attribute, model.add attribute, ID, name, age, all that. So ID is the name which is going to hold the value of student.getID. Name is the one other attribute which is going to carry the student.getName. And finally it is returning you student result. So what it is? It is nothing but the name of your JSP, it should be. I mean the view name. So we need to have that JSP page there in our web content folder. Right? Create a new JSP with that view name. Copy that one, right? You can copy. Copy that view name. Right. Student result.jsp it should be.
Fajar abakas karena
Copy this content there in the body tag and then save this page. So we just wanted to read the data of all those modal object, I mean modal map object which we created there in that attribute, right? So all these things, $ID, $name, $age, these are all the attributes that we configured for our model map, right? Save this. Now go to that Apache Tomcat error page and just refresh that so that HTTP status 404 should go away. And in that place it is going to load the add student.jsp page. Excuse me. So whatever the data you enter, so all that submitted data is that submitted student information is visible here, right? So this is how the data of all my text boxes, which is read by the getter methods of that Pojo class, is displayed in this JSP page. Is this clear? Any questions? In case if you want to explore more other components other than the text boxes, we will create one more Pojo class and the controller class along with the respective JSPs. Shall we do that, or you want to try that one? Okay, let's create a new Pojo. Don't know, I'm not getting any responses these days. And whether you are able to understand it or not, I'm not sure. Okay, create a new Pojo. Name it as user. Okay, you would like to try that? Okay, fine. Then I'll leave that to you. Or if you want to do it now, we'll do it. It will take another 15 minutes. Yeah, let us do that. User. Copy all these private properties in that user. So every user will be having some name, password, gender, country, about himself, and the community, the user community like Spring community, database community, and then mailing list, whether he subscribed for any mailing list, all that, boolean, true, false, all such things. Generate the getters and setters for all these things. Select all, and then click OK. Control Shift F. And let us create user controller. User controller. And also you can copy that @controller from your student controller. Yeah. Okay, then copy these two methods into this. One method is user form method, which will be meant for creating a new model and view object. And the other method is for showing the data that you submitted to your user form. Control Shift F, right. Control Shift O, right. Perfect. So if you observe your user form, name of our JSP should be user form because that is the view name you mentioned. And this time instead of giving command object, we said name of the model is user and it is going to carry the empty user object, right? So let us create the JSPs with that view name. Copy that view name and create a new JSP file in web content. Call it as userform.jsp. Okay. Go to your student form.jsp and copy that form tag lib directive, tag lib directive for that Spring Forms. Line 3, you can copy it. Line 3. Tag lib directive. Correct. Then copy all these lines of code inside the body tag. Alright. Then copy a few more things. Yeah, copy them. The errors will go away. Copy rest of the things. So we copied username, password, then gender. Then we need to copy a few more things. Copy them after line 26. I mean, other than text boxes, we want to see what all the things we can do through the Spring Forms. Yeah, select that ampersand LT semicolon and replace all those things with less than symbol. And then apply Control Shift F. And then you can also copy a few more things. Gender you copied, community, about you, country, and one more, mailing list. Would you like to subscribe for mailing list or not? So copy that TR also. And then the submit button. So copy all of them after line 46. With that we'll close the table and also the form tag. Right. Control Shift F. Right. So this is my user form. So one important thing that you need to observe here is, can you scroll up to the form beginning tag, I mean the opening tag. So earlier the default name of your model object was given as command. So we just mentioned method and then the action. But this time in my user controller we are passing a different command name. So whatever the command name you are passing XYZ, that also you need to mention here. That is how you will be able to map this particular presentation layer with the respective model object. Means your model object should be rendered by this presentation, right? So that is what we are trying to do it by mentioning that command name attribute on line number 12. And rest all the things are form colon input path equal to name. So that is going to create you the text box. Then on line number 20 you can see form colon password. It will be creating you the password box. Then on line number 24 you can see form colon radio button. That is going to create you the radio buttons, right? So with the value M and F2 radio buttons will be created. And then form colon select, it is going to create the drop down button wherein all those four options will be there. Select option, India, USA, UK, all those are the values. Then about you is going to create you the text area there. Form colon text area you mentioned, means multi-line text box. Then community, it is for the checkbox. So which all the community you wanted to. Spring community, Hibernate community, Studs community, which community you want to subscribe for. Then scroll down. Then mailing list. Would you like to join our mailing list? Right? Then scroll down the submit button. So input type equal to submit. So this is how the user form we are trying to create there. Right? So on clicking the submit button, so where does it goes? Let's scroll up. What is the action you mentioned for this form tag? Can you scroll up in the user form? Farm colon farm beginning tag. So you mentioned action equal to something. So that action value should be action equal to add user you mentioned, right? So with that request mapping, there must be a method in my user controller. Go back to your user controller. So there is a method we declared which is mapped with that action value. So we said add user method, request mapping value equal to add user. And the method we declared is carrying the model attribute called user. So whatever the data you are going to submit there, you are going to select there from the drop downs or radio buttons, check boxes, or the data that you entered in your text area, text boxes. All that is going to be passed to this add user method as a model attribute object, which you are saying it as user object. And you are instantiating your model and view, an empty model and view, and you are setting the view name as user success, and you are adding that object as user object, right? Just to avoid the confusion, the name of the model is given as user and the object that you are passing is your user object, and you are going to return that one. So now there must be one more JSP which is going to render this data that is carried through this object. So the name of that view name, so with that view name there must be a JSP called user success.jsp should be there. Create that. User success.jsp it is. Paste that one, then say .jsp. Then copy all these lines of code inside the body tag. Right. Go to index.jsp, save this, and go to index.jsp, and you can add this hyperlink there. Because to reach on to this, to invoke this user form request mapping, there must be a hyperlink, right? So keep this hyperlink after line 12. Ampersand LT semicolon replace with less than symbol. Paste it after BR tag. Copy that line 12, cut it, Control X, then paste it after BR tag. Right. Control Shift F. Right. Save this. Yeah, because you added new Pojo, new controller, all that, better to stop your Tomcat server once. Stop the Tomcat server and then run the project again. Right click on your Spring MVC farm app, run as run on server. Right, so you got to see the user form new link on your index page. Click that. It is going to execute that user form method you added in your user controller, and it is loading you that user page. Enter some data and try to run that. It is the text box, username, then it is the password box, so nothing will be visible. Gender is a radio button, so you can pick either that radio button or this radio button. And then country is a drop down you selected from the drop down, and about you is a multi-line text box, and then the check boxes. Then finally click the submit button. So this is going to invoke the add user method, and it is printing you all those details whatever you selected, whatever you entered there on your form. Right? Is it clear? Any questions? So please go through the javacodegeeks.com, the last one. I pasted two URLs here for your reference. So you can walk through that. Any questions? So please read more, as much as theory you can read, and keep practicing the things. You will definitely get doubts if you practice. Right? So please try to ask your questions if you have any, and I am here to answer all your questions. Okay? So that's all for now. So I'll be uploading today's PDF straight away. Yes, index.jsp or any JSP, whatever you are configuring there in your welcome file list of your web.xml, correct? So in your web.xml, if your welcome file list is defined with some other name, like some of the guys used to say home.jsp, so their home page will be called, right? So we said index.jsp, the very first page, right? You can give any name. It need not be index.jsp always. Right, thank you, Josna. Thank you. Thank you, Shikanya, for sharing your screen. So any more questions? Does it answer your question, Rishita? You're not able to download Spring 4? Why? The link is working, right? Can you open that Spring2.pdf, I believe. There is a link. It says forbidden means maybe you got, not sure, your system is blocking them or something. Forbidden link should not be there. So you can do one thing. You can type Spring 4 download. Maybe it will give you the link. So from there also you can download. In my PDF, from my PDF you can click the link directly. That will take you to that hyperlink, right? It's not taking you. Spring 4 PDF is not downloading. Why? It is not there in Spring 4. It is there in Spring 2 itself. Spring2.pdf will give you all those links to the software. Spring 4 PDF is uploaded yesterday. It is there. So what is the problem? Shikanya, are you able to download that one, Spring 4? I've just now uploaded Spring 5 PDF also. Nothing is forbidden there. So are you able to download other files? Yeah, she is able to download Spring 4 PDF 664 KB. Yes, that is the one. Spring 4 MP4. That was on beginning day. And yesterday's thing was Spring 4 continuation. So I kept one more MP4. So please download all of them. Try once again. If it doesn't work out, then I'll try to mail you it. Right? If it is a PDF, I can mail you. Right? Whereas if it is MP4, I think I can't mail it because MP4 is a very big file. Okay then. Right, chalo. Thank you guys. See you tomorrow.